Hey, Justin here with Stay at Home Dad's Podcast. Welcome to the place I talk about the many different things that go on here in my stay-at-home dad life. Things with my kids, my family, being a better father and a better husband, men's mental and physical wellness, parenting struggles I have. I also talk about parenting tips and life tips that I have that I come across by meeting people and reading books and surfing the web. I come across a lot of that stuff. Lastly, just random things that pop into my head, things that I think about, things that elicit a thought in traffic or talking to somebody. I come on here and I share with you. So I hope something in there interests you or enlightens you or just, makes you be a better father and a better husband and a better man. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me today. All right. So today's show is going to be, let's be honest, it's probably going to be kind of short, because I have been just burning the candle at both ends. Is that a saying? You burn it at both, burn the wick, the candle? Anyways, I don't know. I have been in party plan mode. I have just been hammering out stuff for my wife's 40th birthday party. So yeah, it's a big deal, right? 40, it's a big milestone. Now she warned me, she told me, hey, just plan a trip. Just plan a family vacation. Let's just go somewhere, have a good time, go to the Bahamas, go to the West Coast, go just plan a nice family trip. Well, here I am. I'm planning, I'm decorating, I'm buying, I'm decorating, I'm spending a lot of time and a considerable amount of money to throw her a 40th birthday party. Now, if you remember, it must be almost 2 years ago. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. Well, I'll be 42 in June. She threw me a 40th birthday party, an amazing one. And I imagine I talked about on here. I talk about everything that goes on in my life. But she threw me a gambling party and had table games set up, and it was a Vegas theme since that's where we moved here from. It was an awesome experience, let me say. We had all our friends there, a lot of neighbors, and I don't know, the party and everything just made the day, the birthday, that much more special. So I want to reciprocate, and I want to do that for her. I don't want to take the easy way out and be like, oh, all right, you just wanted a trip? All right, yeah, I can do a trip and just pick some place and pay the money and get the airfare. I don't want to say that's the easy way out, because she also would have appreciated that. But I want to show her a good time. I want to show her all the people that care about her and love her, and all the friends we have here, and just have a fun time. So, with that really long story being said, I'm planning a murder mystery experience at our house here. It's going to happen at our house. So I've invited a lot of neighbors, a lot of our friends. We've got about 28 or 30 people coming, and it's going to be a pretty cool event. This company's going to come, and they're going to bring 3 actors, actresses with them, and they're going to plan this whole murder mystery thing. So they're going to kind of put on a show, almost like a theater show, I'm assuming. I've never experienced this before, but I've been planning it and talking to him, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. That's kind of what he talked about, was they're going to have costumes, and they're going to change, and they're going to play characters, and they're going to go through all the guests and mingle with people, and they're going to pick out detectives and suspects and do all that stuff. And it's about a 2.5 hour show that they're going to put on. They're going to come here to my house, so that's going to be kind of cool. I ordered a bunch of food. We're getting drinks coming. I converted my garage. Not really converted. I just pulled all my cars out and cleaned everything really well. And I actually redid my garage a couple of years ago. About a year ago, I guess. Did the floor, so the floor looks nice. Got nice lighting in there. The walls are all finished, so it doesn't necessarily feel like a dingy garage. So I've been decorating that to high heaven and putting some signs up inside the house and doing all that stuff and just trying to make it a cool experience. So that's the plan. It's going to happen here. Well, the day this episode goes up is when it's going to happen, Friday. So my guests are coming. They're getting dressed up. They're going to have a vintage Hollywood, kind of old Hollywood style theme. And we're just going to go from there and have a good time. So That's what I've been doing. I haven't not been focused on podcasting and video creating and any of that stuff. That's totally backburnered for the past couple of weeks. And I've just been focused on this. So hopefully it goes off without a hitch. But speaking of parties and planning and everything, and how my wife wanted a trip, I think a party or a big blowout is kind of necessary. Would you agree? It's midlife. It's a big deal. Isn't this when guys go out and buy big boats or a Corvette, strap on the New Balances and get rocking, Or I don't know what women do. Do they, don't murder me, but do they get plastic surgery, to thwart off the aging effects? Do they get a little Botox? I don't know. They buy something? They buy a fancy purse for $700? I don't know. That's just what people do, right? Midlife crisis comes and they need to feel young again. They need to tap into their inner 25-year-old, maybe. So they do something that tells themselves, I'm not too old to do this. Check it out. I bought a sports car. Check it out. I, bought a sexy dress. I don't know. But men and women succumb to this, right? It's not just men, right? I mean, it's painted in that way, where we all go out and buy stuff we don't need. We have affairs with our office workers. That just seems how, I don't want to say society, that sounds too deep, but TV and movies and things, and just kind of paints that picture. Now, we don't all do that, right? I want to get that clear. I didn't do that when I turned 40. I didn't have an affair. I did not buy a Corvette. I do tell my wife that she does have to worry about me dragging some piece of shit car or truck home, some rusty bucket, bringing that home, but she doesn't have to worry about me being with another woman, that's for sure. So what do you do for 50? Do you do anything for 50? I suppose that's a big deal. You're half a century, but I don't think it's really necessary. So maybe that tapers off a little bit. Maybe that one will be a trip. That should be a trip, right? Because in 10 years, my kids will be teenagers. Not that they can be left at home all weekend. Well, maybe they could. Yeah, 16. Would you leave a 16-year-old home with a 19-year-old? Would you leave them home alone for a weekend? I would think so, right? Geez, that sounds like a super helicopter parent right there. I've been reading all these books and talking about that stuff. I know I talked about some of it last week, but yeah, come on, Justin. Yes, I think you can leave a 16 and a 19-year-old home. She's an adult. She could, be mindful and make sure the 16-year-old didn't get in any kind of hoopla. But yeah. So yeah, 10 years from now, 50 years old, might be that might be the Bahama trip coming up. Granted, if we don't do that before then. I'm not saying that we only go on trips for big things, but you get the point. But yeah, it's been a busy spring for me, though. It's been crazy. I know you don't want to hear about a diary reading of my life, but it's been busy. Sports kicked up. I'm actually going to talk about sports here in a minute, but sports are kicking up. We had our anniversary last week, my wife and I's 12-year anniversary, so we actually went out with some friends and did Make-A-Wish Foundation, put on a gala and an auction and dinner, so we did that. So that was actually really nice, like getting really dressed up. I think that's kind of important for big events, though, sometimes is, sure, you're going to have some where you just order a pizza and you Netflix and you hang out and you have a good time, but I think it's important to prioritize your relationship and put on the nice dress and put on your suit and put on a tie and some nice shoes, make a reservation at a great place, and go do something of significance, whether it's just going to dinner, nice place, seeing a show, doing some kind of play, I don't know, maybe going to a concert. You're not going to dress up in a suit and tie to go to a concert, but you know what I mean? Like just dressing up, putting on your best for your spouse, and doing something you both enjoy. I think that's really important to do that on occasional anniversaries. Kind of really focus on one another, do something really nice for each other, and, show up and be that person that you know that they would like you to be, that you once were. You're fancy on your wedding day. Let's be fancy on a few anniversaries. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, we did that last week. Then we got my wife's birthday coming up here. Then we've got Mother's Day coming up. And then, like I said, my kids have been in soccer and basketball and all these other activities that just suck the time out of the day. Just take it. They just take it away. So yeah, it's been busy, and I definitely haven't been preparing for this because I am kind of all over the place with this episode, but that's all right. I actually got to wrap it up here in the next 5 minutes. I'll probably come back. I'll probably pause it. I got to go get my kid, get her from running club, and then I will come home and finish it up. But yeah, this party thing is just, like I said, it's taken a lot of my time. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing my wife happy. I enjoy seeing her smile and appreciate all the hard work. And same with me. I appreciate all the hard work she's done at my party and other small moments throughout our relationship, and kind of reflect here a little bit. I think in relationships sometimes, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think it gets to be a little too much of the attitude of, what do I get out of this? Like, I'm setting up this party. I could have the attitude of, what do I get out of this? Like, I'm doing all this work, blah, blah, blah. Or for her, doing all the work for mine. There's too much of that attitude of, what do I get out of it? What's in it for me? Too much scorekeeping. Too much, well, I did this for you, I need to do this for me. And granted, I know I said that at the top of the show, that my wife put on a party for me, and I feel like I should reciprocate, which I do agree that I should. But I'm not going into it thinking that I have to repay a debt. I'm not going into it thinking that, I better do this for her, right? I'm doing it because I love the woman, and I love seeing her happy, and I love seeing all of our friends come together and just celebrate and have a good time and have a party. And I think when there is too much of that scorekeeping and that, what's in it for me attitude, I think that's where shit kind of goes a little wrong. And I think that's where problems start to arise, and then resentment kind of bleeds in, and one person starts to feel a certain way about the other. Like they're never getting those things back that they put in, maybe. Or, I don't know. You can kind of see what I'm saying here. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist or a relationship expert. I'm just a jackass talking into a computer microphone. But do you kind of see where I'm going with this? It just, I don't know. I think about friends that have had divorces and gone through things, and the older I get, the more that are coming up, and it's kind of sad. It kind of sucks, for them and their kids and their relationship that they once had that is now no more, and it's volatile and crazy, and I don't know. I'll talk about more of this later. Like I said, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I'm trying to get my buddy TJ on here, who is dealing with a lot of this stuff. So we'll put a pin in all that. We'll talk about it then. But anyways, like I said, kind of a short episode of my rambling. So don't expect some profound wisdom or solutions or any of that today. I'm just sitting here talking and rambling, and I've got ideas coming out of my head, and I'm just spewing them here. And I'm probably going to ask myself more questions than answering. But if you want to answer my questions, you know where to find me, at stayhomedads_podcast on Instagram or at podbean.com. Send me a message. If you hear something on this show and you're like, I have the answer for you, dude, let me know. Tell me. I say it all the time. I'd love to hear from you. But anyways, this last thing. Remember, I was going to talk about sports. And this last thing is something that I have been in the depths of dealing with. Just in it. Thick of it. And I'm not really sure how to go about it. And that's my daughters in sports. And I know I've talked about this before. I've talked about the overabundance of sports and activities and everything else. But my daughters in sports, struggling with sports, I don't really know what to do. But let me take a quick break. I will be right back because I got to pick up my kid from running club. All right, so where did I leave off? I wanted to talk about sports and kids, and maybe you could help me answer this little dilemma I'm having. My oldest daughter, Olivia, she's in basketball. She's been playing on and off basketball for, 9? Probably since she was 5. So 4 years. She's done a league here and there. She's done some skill builders. She's kind of dabbled in it. This year, being 9 years old, is the first year where she really got into a couple leagues and really started playing and started really trying to play basketball instead of just being, little kids doing lower nets and just skill stuff. She's actually played on teams and tried to, really get better at basketball. So she did a boys and girls club league, and she wasn't super, let me preface all this. She's not ever been super excited about sports or basketball or any of that stuff. She's more, I like to read books. I like to learn about things. I like to be in nature. She's that type of kid. So we've kind of pushed getting into sports a little bit, and maybe that's not the right way to go about it, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But anyways, so we've kind of got her into basketball. She's played boys and girls club. It took some time, but, after a few sessions, she kind of got to know some of the girls and started to enjoy it, started to play her practices. Never really loved it, though. Never really was like, yes. So we decided, okay, let's really give this a chance. Let's push her a little bit more to do this other league. And it's called, I don't know, should I say what it's called? I'm going to. It's called IBA, Indiana Basketball Association. There's tons of different leagues here. Apparently, Indiana, Hoosier State basketball, it's crazy. So we put her in this IBA league, which is it's like a step up from Boys and Girls Club. So you can steal the ball, you can be a little more aggressive. They call more stuff, the refs do. So it's like it's a progress. It's a progression from the last league. So we thought, okay, you kind of started going with the one league, and we're going to get you going on the next one. And we're going to kind of push you and coax you into sticking with it. We thought maybe like a year. Stick with it for a year. Expand your skills, get better. Well, we start this IBA league, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a different animal, but it is very different than the Boys and Girls Club League, like a lot. So she's playing, and they're stealing the ball, and they're getting really aggressive, and even like kids on her team, when they did like a shakedown thing, and it was kind of intimidating for her, and we're like, okay, let's keep going. So then they did a couple practices. We went to a game. Her team got blown out. It was 36-4. We're like, wow. And the other team they were playing were phenomenal. How they were playing and how they were communicating and how they were aggressive, crazy aggressive, and running for the ball and all this stuff. So we play that game, loss. Has another practice, play another game, loss, another blowout. Has another practice. It's one practice a week and one game a week. Has another practice, another loss. Boom, blown out. So it's 3 games now in a row that it's just total annihilation. On the car ride home, she's crying and she's upset and she's saying that I don't like it anymore. I'm not having fun anymore. And it's just, I don't know what to do. It just kind of crushed her. It just kind of took all the wind out of her sails to where she hates this game. She has no desire to play basketball anymore. So we emailed the people that run the league, and we told them, hey, what is going on with the matchups? And they gave us some runaround. Oh, these teams, they've been playing all for the past 9 months together. They're very, good together. They have good this and that, and, their skills are a lot higher. Okay. It's going to change, they tell us. It's going to change, and it's going to be different. All right. So we go to another game. No, she missed this next game. And they actually won that game because I think they changed something. I don't know what happened, but they won this game. But anyways, long story short, not really, long story longer, is she does not like it. So what we ended up doing, we had her signed up for spring and summer league, and we decided, okay, let's pull her out of summer. We hadn't paid for it yet, but she was signed up, so we're like, let's just pull her out of summer. She'll do the spring league, and we'll just put a pin in it and be done. I just don't know, when did child sports get so competitive? When did that happen? Has that always been that way? I remember it not being that way. But honestly, I've blocked out a lot of my childhood, not because of trauma or anything, but I just don't remember a lot of stuff in my childhood. I was a swimmer. I swam from, the age of 7 until the age of 14. I was a swimmer. So I was never into basketball or baseball or contact sports or any of that stuff. I didn't do it. So that's what I've told my daughter as well. I said, hey, I didn't play sports either. It's not a big deal. But when did it get so competitive to where these parents are putting their kids into sports at 3 years old, at 4 years old, when they're toddlers essentially, and they're putting a ball in their hand? It's like they're just laying all the groundwork super, super, super early to have this kid play basketball, or have this, Tiger Woods, have him play golf, watch him, you know what I mean? Almost brainwash your son into playing golf because you swing a club in front of him when he is a baby. And you just do it and do it and do it, and then you just surround him with it. So that's what it's like these parents do. They just push, like basketball, baseball, whatever it is, just constantly. And how, as another fellow parent, how do you compete with that? How do you push past that? How do you, like my daughter hasn't been playing basketball. Like I said, she's been playing on and off since 5-ish, but she hasn't been playing since she was 3. Dribbling a ball and passing a ball, and you know what I mean? So how do you compete with that? And it almost takes the fun out of it. And why do you even want to play? You don't want to play, and it's true. She doesn't want to play anymore. She's done with it. So I just don't understand why that is the way it is. And maybe it's my ignorance. Maybe I'm just being stupid, and maybe I'm living under a rock, or I don't know children's sports. But when did there become so much emphasis on playing sports? And then you get into travel sports, and I think a couple weeks ago I talked about all the extracurriculars and the over scheduling of kids and getting them in extracurricular things and having them hit the books more and having them study more and having them, and kind of taking away from your standard childhood. I know I talked about that already, but I just don't understand the emphasis on it. Does every parent think their kid is going to be the next Michael Jordan? Does everyone think that that's what it is? Or is it just that's the times, and you're seeing, oh, well, if my kid isn't, just like I'm witnessing now, if your kid's not in sports at the age of 3, then you're not going to be competitive in playing sports. But I don't know. It just takes away some of the childhood fun of it, in my opinion. And there's all this emphasis put on it, and it's like, yeah, do you think your kid's gonna get a scholarship? Is that what it's about? Is you're trying to set them up for when they're in high school to be the baseball all-star? Or is that always like you're always looking ahead, you're always looking forward? And maybe that's my problem. I'm looking at right now, and I want my kid to have to build skills, sure, but I want them to have fun. I don't know. And I know things are going to be hard. I know, and I tell my daughters that. Things are hard. New things are tough. Every sport you do is going to be hard. So I try to educate them on that and say, hey, this is what it is. The more you play and the more you practice, the better you'll get. And she doesn't even really want to practice. And I told her the other day, I said, well, if you don't want to practice, you don't want to put in the time, then maybe this isn't the sport for you. Maybe this isn't your thing. So that's kind of the consensus. Now, I'd just like some feedback, and let me know what you think. Are we pushing kids so hard into sports that they're missing out on other things? Are we teaching kids, like those other teams that she played? And I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. Look at the scoreboard. Opposing coach, look at the scoreboard. It's 38-4. Can you maybe have them back off a little bit? I mean, we want to teach kids sportsmanship and playing the games and the fundamentals, Do we just want to teach winning and blowing out of the water? And maybe that's kind of naive for me to say that, but that's kind of what I think. Anyways, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some feedback there. Tell me what you think. Is your kid in any kind of sports? How does it go? Have they been playing it since they were 2 or 3 years old? I mean, that's I guess, looking back, that's how it was when I grew up. I grew up in a hockey town, and everyone played hockey. Everyone. And there would be little pee-wee kids out there on skates, and they would barely be able to walk, and they had skates on their feet. And I guess that is. I said it already. It's my ignorance to think that anything has changed. I just never noticed until now, until it's been happening to me. So, yeah, it is what it is. So, anyways, we've kind of put a pin in basketball, which I'm fine with, and I told her that. But I did tell her she's got to finish. We got to get it knocked out and get it finished. Finish what we started, because we don't want to just quit on your team. And we told her, hey, we paid money for this, and we would like you to finish it. And that's the right thing to do. And I've told her that. I've said, hey, you don't have to love it. It can suck, but I want you to have a positive attitude. And not necessarily even a positive attitude. I want you to go in there and say, you know what? This isn't fun for me, but I'm going to do my best. Or this isn't fun for me, but I'm going to try my hardest. And that's what I told her. And I think we've kind of come to that consensus. It's hard, though. I don't like seeing her upset, and I don't like seeing her feel like she just gets beat down all the time in these games. But, it's losing is a part of life. Failure is a part of life, I guess. So, yeah, but we've pivoted, though, now. She's in running club. She enjoys running a lot, and I think that's the goal. I think that's the takeaway from all this is play to your kids' strength. Yes, let them try things out. Let them kind of bounce around. If they don't like it, say, hey, well, finish it out, and then we'll move on. And just let them kind of feel it out and find what they want to do and find what they like. And that's what we're going to do. So they do run club now. They don't really have track or cross country in elementary school, so we'll wait until you get a little older for that, but that's kind of what she is into. And we're going to try out some other sports too. She's played a little volleyball, so we're going to try that, and she's played a little bit of golf, and we might revisit that as well. Golf, actually a sport that you play when you're an adult. That's the other thing too. We put all this emphasis on sports and doing as a kid, and how much time, like as an adult looking back, do you ever be like, well, sure, that was good for my growth or whatever, but how much time did you literally waste going to hours and hours and hours of practices and games and travel games? The travel thing is a whole nother ball game that is insane to me. Like travel soccer and travel everything else where you're going states away to play matches. It's just, I get it. I guess it's a part of life and it's part of adolescent sports, but it just blows my mind that's what you do, And I know we did it when we swam too. We would drive to neighboring towns and hours away and stuff like that. I know I'm not trying to say I don't understand, because I do. I get it, but it just is crazy to me. Now that I'm living it as an adult, it's crazy to me. But anyways, learning all these skills and then you never use them again, because the percentage of us that go to professional soccer teams or something is very, very small. And do you play soccer as a 30-something adult? Do you play baseball as a 40-something adult? No, you don't. And I think I heard a story once where not a pro baseball player, but a high up, played baseball all his childhood, played baseball in college, and now he's an adult and he's got a career, and he's like, yeah, I kind of regret playing that much baseball. You put so much emphasis on that, and then what else do you miss out on, is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, so that is my conundrum. That is my current dilemma. She's a reader, like I said. She reads, and she is a little bookworm. She likes digging in the mud and exploring outside. So I guess maybe I should just embrace those things more than sports and stop putting so much emphasis. But it's hard, though, when you look around and see all these other people and they're just hammering sports all the time. It's just hard to not get wrapped up in all that. Now, on the other foot, I'll tell you real quick before I let you guys go, is my 6-year-old is playing soccer. It's her first time playing soccer. They play on little mini fields. They don't have goalies. And she freaking loves it. She absolutely loves soccer. And this is the first time she's played a real deal sport. So now I'm going to find myself back in this situation again, that if she continues to play soccer and continues to excel, and here's the other thing, is now she's starting a sport consistently and playing on a team at the age of 6 and not the age of 9. 3-year difference there. So maybe that's kind of a point to think about. That age. Honestly, I waited too long to get my older daughter into consistent sports on a team. Too long, maybe. And now she's just not really into it. So anyways, my younger one, Kennedy, loves soccer, loves running. She said that's her favorite part, is the running. So it's pretty interesting how that works out. So who knows? Maybe I'll be eating all my words and I'll be running her ass around to travel soccer and this and that and all this other crazy stuff. But we'll see. Anyways, that's about all I have for today's episode of Stay Home Dad's podcast. Like I said, just a lot of ramblings today. Just a lot of just things on my mind, party stuff, kids sports stuff. I don't know how to teach sportsmanship. That's been something that I've flagged in my my notes for a long time, to talk about sportsmanship and teaching kids about that stuff. So maybe I'll dive into that at some point. But please, if you have any words of wisdom for me, or if you have anything you can add to this and you can enlighten me on and maybe help my daughter enjoy team sports a little bit more, I would appreciate it if you'd reach out at stayhomedads_podcast at Instagram or at podme.com and just please let me know. So I don't know, maybe she'll just be one of those kids that does individual sports like I did, swimming, where it's just you in the water, it's you in the lane, it's running, it's you in running, that's it. So we'll see, we will see. But anyways, thank you for listening. Please reach out to me if you got any answers to any of my ridiculous questions. And that's it. I'll talk to you all in a couple of weeks.